Hey guys, how you doing? jpsarrireviews here. Welcome again to another video. Now in today's video, I want to talk about the big conversation, the big subject, and the thoughts and the minds and the mouths and the keyboards of a lot of people in reference to Diamond Comic Distributors filing bankruptcy, Chapter 11 today. And this was a big bomb that was dropped in the middle of the room. I would say, honestly, that even though it was surprising, it wasn't really unexpected. The reality is that the writing has been on the wall for quite some time about comics and the distribution of comics, and maybe this is the nail in the coffin, maybe not. But in this video, I want to break down the information. I want to separate the facts from the fiction. I want to separate the information from misinformation, because everything seems to be combined. There's a lot of articles now talking about it. There is videos, people posting videos. There is posts on social media. Not everything is accurate. Not all information that is given is correct. So I want to get to the bottom of this with the information that we have so far, but give you a better picture of what's happening and what it means for comic book fans, what it means for people who are supporter of comic book stores, and also what it means for statue collectors too, and action figure collectors, because they're also in the mix. Chuck Parker, president of Diamond Comic Distributors, has written to comic book stores and publishers with the news that Diamond Comic Distributors has declared Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and that Diamond UK, as well as sister company and game distributor Alliance Games Distribution, have a commitment to be bought by Canadian comics distributor Universal Distribution. This comes after many major publishers left U.S. distribution with Diamond, including Marvel, DC, Image, IDW, Dark Horse, and most recently Boom Studios. Dear valued customer, I am writing to share one of the most challenging messages of my career. Earlier today, Diamond made the difficult but necessary decision to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. This step is intended to stabilize our financial foundation and protect the most vital aspects of our business. This decision was not made lightly, and I understand that this news may be as difficult to hear as it is for me to share. The Diamond leadership team and I have worked tirelessly to avoid this outcome, but the financial challenges we face have left us with no other viable option. Chapter 11 will provide us with the opportunity to restructure and address our financial obligations. This process will likely include the sales of key assets of Diamond Comic Distributors. We have already received a commitment from Universal Distribution to purchase Alliance Game Distributors, coupled with a signed letter of intent to purchase Diamond UK. And we remain committed to pursuing offers for all Diamond lines of business. What does this mean for you? I want to reassure you that with secure financing in place to support our operations, Diamond Comic Distributors is committed to continuing business as usual throughout this process. Our plan is to continue fulfilling orders in a complete and timely fashion, something that they've been struggling a lot lately. So still in the air. And says, and we are working hard to minimize any disruptions to your orders. Now, just the facts here, just for those who have questions. Why did Diamond Comic Distributor decide to file Chapter 11? The unexpected loss of certain exclusive publisher relationships, compounded by an overall contraction in consumer spending, increased inflation, and increased inflation, and a loss of margin on key print product lines contributed to this decision. After exploring all available options, Diamond determined that filing for Chapter 11 is the best course of action to restructure its operations and secure the most favorable outcome for all stakeholders. What were the contributing factors in the industry that led to this decision? Post-pandemic, it's an excuse that a lot of companies are going to use, unfortunately, and it's true to a certain extent, not always. We know that they were struggling even prior to this. The comic book industry at large has seen a decrease in consumer activity paired with rising operation costs, which is true. And Diamond is no exception. Shrinking margins, growing expenses, and a decline in sales, as well as the desire to achieve the best possible outcome for the majority of our vendors, customers, and employees all contributed to this decision. It sounds nice, but in reality, this is more for stakeholders, because the outcome will be, for a lot of employees, they will be terminated. That's just the reality of this. When you get into Chapter 11, you're not saving the employees with you. Technically, you are saving the top heads of the company or the owners of the company. That's about it. A lot of people are going to be terminated. Unfortunately, that's the reality. What is Chapter 11? Does this mean the company is closing? That is important because there's a distinction between Chapter 7 and Chapter 11. Chapter 11 filing is generally an action that company takes to protect its ongoing business from financial claims while it continues operations, which means that once they declare that they are under the protection of Chapter 11, they got to go through the court filing and through whole the process. They're protected by law. The people they owe money, they cannot come after them through certain legal means because everything has to be done through the bankruptcy court. Chapter 11, during Chapter 11 proceedings, the company typically reorganizes financially and manages its operations to best meet the claims of those to whom it owes money. Diamond has received funding from its lender to enable it to meet post-filing obligations and continue to operate while it goes through this process. Now, this is a very tricky comment here because they say, you know, you owe money, you owe people. All of a sudden, it says that they were able to secure a loan to enable to meet post-filing. So I don't know how they match this because it wouldn't be the case that they actually owe money to the same person that is lending. How can you lend money to somebody? You know, there's a lot of tricky things that happen here in this process. So yeah, some information might be accurate. It's a bit muddy what is given here, but it's part of the process, I guess. As part of the restructuring process, the company has received a stalking horse bid from Universal Distribution from Alliance Games Distributors and signed a letter of intent with the same company to buy Diamond UK. So they want to get rid of that part of the company. They're technically trimming the fat. We are also actively pursuing offers for additional Diamond Comic Distributors assets and lines of business, including our comic, toy, and collectible distribution. Diamond Book Distributors, Collectible Grading Authority, CGA, and Diamond Select Toys, which also includes a Gentle Giant Ltd. I talked about it 6 years ago around the same time back in February in my podcast, 2019. That's when Diamond Select Toys purchased Gentle Giant. And even though the company has, you know, been kept alive, it's been, you know, ups and downs where technically Gentle Giant has been very quiet. And even Diamond Select Toys last year was extremely quiet. And I was a bit surprised. You know, I was thinking there was something was up. That was giving me the first impression that something was really up with the company, that they were not really releasing much stuff. They were not really covering a lot. They were just very, very quiet. Now, how will I be impacted as a customer? It says Diamond Comic Distributors will continue to fill orders and operate in business as usual during this process. We are currently in discussions with companies inside and outside of our industries to acquire parts of Diamond. Our goal is to minimize any potential impact on retailers and ensure the continued uninterrupted flow of products. Now, coming to their website, I can look at this press release. That's the only press release that they have done so far. This is the one that is general to the public. This is Diamond Comic Distributors files voluntary petition for relief under Chapter 11. Diamond Comic Distributors today announced that it has filed a voluntary petition for relief under Chapter 11 of the United States Bankruptcy Code in the United States Bankruptcy Court for the District of Maryland to facilitate the restructuring of its business. As part of the restructuring process, Diamond has received a $39 million stalking horse bid. That's something that was not there on the other and the Bleeding Cool article that we just read from an affiliate, Universal Distribution, Universal for Alliance Games Distributors. So the $39 million is a pretty hefty offer. That's what they try to definitely. This is just for Alliance Game Distributors, which are the distributors of all the board games, and they have in some ways sort of a monopoly on that area. So that's what they trying to cover. So that part of the company they want to get rid of. Now the other part, the company has received commitments for up to $41 million in debtor in possession (DIP) financing from JP Morgan Chase. Okay, so this answered the other question that I have over there. So JP Morgan Chase technically is financing them to stay afloat. So technically, but the companies like JP Morgan are not going to jump on it unless there's something in between. Of course, they have to be a guarantee, a grantor. There has to be a lot of things in the way for them to invest into a failing company. JP Morgan is facilitating some of that funding and operating expenses and ensure adequate working capital to meet its obligations to associates and suppliers. At least they have that. We'll see what happens. It's, you know, there are a lot of times, you know, a lot of companies like JP Morgan specializes on in Chase. They specialize in companies that are completely in failure and they try to buy in for less. So we'll see what happens here. In addition to securing DIP financing and a stalking horse bid for Alliance Game Distributors, Diamond has received strong interest in its specialized business divisions. Diamond has been a linchpin of the comic book industry for over 4 decades. Our priority has always been to provide quality services to publishers, retailers, and ultimately comic fans. And we remain committed to finding additional buyers for our businesses, said President Chuck Parker. Now, Universal Distribution is looking forward to working with the Alliance and Diamond UK teams to bring a stronger balance sheet and growth opportunities to retailers and suppliers. Both companies have deep roots in the industry, and we look forward to continuing that into the future, said Angelo Isarhakos, President and CEO of Universal. Now, I came here to CBR so we can look at something else, because this is an article that I just saw that just came out, and I think this is pretty accurate. This is written by Adam Barnhart, and this is Diamond's bankruptcy will make or break the entire comic industry. I think this is an important point, because you know, it could be good or it could be bad. And we are right now, even though there's a lot of things that had said, or we read in other articles that were saying that, you know, this company is by this, Universal is going to do that. You know, there's a lot of things unknown and we don't know for sure. So there's a lot of things that we need to clarify here. So I'm going to use this for really for the reference here. And here he's writing, Diamond Comic Distributors has filed for bankruptcy. We know that after months of speculation regarding the company's many shipment delays, which has been they've been happening. A lot of people have complained. A lot of comic book shops have complained heavily about it. A lot of fans have complained about it. Diamond executives first broke the news Wednesday morning, although it's not entirely surprising for Diamond to make such a decision given what publicly known about both the company and comic industry in a post-pandemic world. The news still came as a shock to most, from employees of the company to publishers, creators, and readers alike. It is a move that is already sending reverberations throughout the medium, and frankly, it's something that could change the world of comics forever. True. Is Diamond Comics going out of business? We know it's not. Chapter 11 bankruptcy will allow the distribution to reorganize its finances. Keep that in mind. In here, what this means for comic distribution. Here, Diamond is one of just 3 distributors serving the medium. We know that. If this news surfaced prior to the pandemic, the comic industry would have been thrust into a state of chaos. Then Diamond had a monopoly in comics distribution, and virtually every single publisher pushed his books through the Maryland-based distro. In fact, there was a time at the onset of the pandemic in which Diamond temporarily shuttered distribution, pausing the release of all new comics for a few months. It was a move that quickly led to the creation of competing distributors out of a moment of necessity. Now Diamond is joined by Lunar and Penguin Random House in its comic distribution efforts. Lunar serving as the exclusive distributor of DC and Image titles, while Penguin finds itself distributing titles from Marvel, Dark Horse, and Boom, amongst others. Still, should Diamond not resurface from Chapter 11 bankruptcy, In-Charge Debt Solutions report just 10% of all Chapter 11 successfully make it through reorganization. The industry will forever be changed. On one hand, it would force 2 other distributors to adapt in order to maintain market shares. Otherwise, they run the risk of more competitors entering the fray. After all, many would attribute Diamond's decade-long complacency to its impending downfall. On the other hand, it would devastate the release of small press books. In fact, I'd flat out kill the distribution of those titles, given Diamond has a relatively open submissions policy, allowing small press publishers and creators to submit their titles directly to the Diamond purchasing team, while indie stalwarts like Image, Dark Horse, Oni, and Boom will always have their own distribution. Smaller presses like Band of Bards, Blood Moon Comics, Black Bugs, Antarctic Press, and more, the places where many comic creators first break into the industry, may soon find themselves without a direct way into comic shops. The comic development pipeline that's been in place for the past 3 decades, give or take, may soon be rendered obsolete. Whatever we look at it, serious changes is on the horizon, and it may make or break comics. I gotta be honest, I haven't really been supporting comic book shops for a long time. I do a lot of digital comics. Forgive me for saying it, but that's how it is for me now. And unfortunately, it's once in a while I go to a comic book shop just to just show up and support and buy something here and there, just as a sign of solidarity with the people who are still keeping the dream alive. But the reality is that it's been hard for them, and now it makes it even harder. There's a lot of losses here, not only like he was saying, for a lot of small comic book creators that through Diamond they were able to distribute their stuff. Now where is going to be the direction they're going to go? Are they going fully digital? Are they going to find other ways to do it? Because, of course, some companies already, or they're going to go through Lunar, they're going to go through the others. Diamond always have something at least offer in the wide range of distribution that they have worldwide, allow for a lot of more distribution and to parts of the world that was necessary for them to receive those comics. So it's a big loss, in so many ways, so many levels. There's a lot of unknowns that we have in front of us. There's a lot of unknowns. And not only as a comic book fan, as a person who loves action figures, I've always been a supporter of Diamond Select Toys. I love their action figures. I always care a lot from them. Like, Marvel Select is always one of my favorites of all time. I love what they have done, but they've been struggling a lot with their figures. And of course, you got the mini mates. Some people love that. The statues, some people like Claver Morn. I'm not even sure if Claver Morn is still working there, was the art director. They have some really nice teams working there. Gentle Giant, fantastic team. A lot of great artists work there. Joe Mena, they work as freelancers, but they always have a big team of people working there. People like friends that I know, whether it's painters, whether it's sculptors, whether it's people who work for the company as digital artists, all of them. What's going to happen with them? That is the question. People are going to lose jobs. Once you start trimming things, once you're selling assets and parts of the company in order to accommodate and to restructure your company in a more manageable way, because that is part of the process of Chapter 11, then that means that you gotta cut a lot of things, and the future for those assets is on the unknown. Of course, when you work with somebody for many years with some parts, you kind of learn the culture of the company and the people, you protect them. But once they're out of your reach, then doesn't matter who buys this, they don't have the same connection with some of these people. So it's not like you can save their jobs. The reality is that it's sad, because we are seeing that clearly that a lot of things are not going to work the way our people are saying they're going to work. Even though there's always good intentions, that doesn't mean that those good intentions are going to work in the end. So there's a lot that we still have to consider here. There's a lot of factors to still talk about. This is a big news. There's a lot of articles. I can go through articles throughout all night, because everybody's posting articles, and there's a lot of information. Of course, right now there is the possibility, of course, there's some financing that has been offered. For, of course, that comes also with some. The companies like JP Morgan Chase, they're not going to give you money out of their will of their heart for good intentions. They want something in return. They want their money back, and they want also with credit. So if not, they take over, whatever it is you have, because they value your assets and you put as collateral technically your company. So if things don't work out good, they'll take over, and that would be the end of Diamond for sure. So there's a lot of things here that definitely need clarification. This is just the beginning of the process, and my prayers are with everyone at Diamond. Everyone, even though I can agree with the things that were happening that were wrong. Most of the time has nothing to do with the small people, the people that work for the company, the people you talk to on the phone, the customer service, the people that are actually in charge of their distribution. All the people is not so. It's over. Everything comes from the heads of the company, the stockholders. Decisions are made that way. There are poor decisions, but the small people, the people who work, they wake up every morning to go to work and get the job done, they are the ones who are going to suffer. Many of them have worked for this company, perhaps some of them since the beginning. So you can, think about it, 40 some years in business. So definitely a lot of people are going to be suffering. 43 years, if I'm not mistaken, if I do the math right. So people are definitely going to feel the crunch. So there are the people I care about, I worry about, and definitely my prayers are with them today. But what is your opinion, my friends? What do you think about this? Definitely it's a big bomb. It dropped. It's like cold shower for a lot of people at the beginning of the year, and it is already a messed up winter. What's happening in California, what's happening here in this part of the East Coast, Northeast, and the North, all this with this big storms and snow. So yeah, definitely the winter got colder, and we'll see what happens. We're hoping and praying for them to recover, for people to get back on their feet soon enough. and Diamond to get back on its feet too. So my friends, let me know what you think about it in the comments. So God bless, take care. I will talk to you again. Bye bye.